So a few days ago, I did a, story about the Lexicon 960L versus the TC Electronics M6000, and while I was doing that, another memory came up of a 960L deal that I was working on. When I used to work at TechCom down in Philadelphia, uh, right across the river in New Jersey was NFL Films, and they're a big production house, and all the films and all the video that's done of the NFL, these guys handle it. So huge amount of money, huge facility. So they used to come over to TechCom and buy gear all the time. They never were a client of mine. But they were a client of TechCom. So when TechCom went out of business, and I was at Angel Mountain years later, I reached out to them to see if there was anything that they needed, and I told them, if they we had a Lexicon 960 and that, and they told me, oh, we would love if you could bring that 960 down to us. So now, when I worked at Angel Mountain, I was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour north of Philadelphia. So when they said they wanted to try it out, but they wanted it on a specific date, and I said, okay, I'll bring it down to you. So I went in, took it out of the control room at Angel Mountain, packed it all up, threw it in the car, and drove down. It took almost 2 hours to get down there, and then I took it down there, and I figured, all right, I'll meet some of the guys. I didn't get to meet anybody. They just said, just leave it over here at the studio, and we'll call you when we're done demoing. And so I called them back, I think a day later or 2 days later, because they wanted to try it for this one thing. And they said, oh, could you pick it up on this date? And I said, okay. So I figured, all right, I'll go back down there and pick it up. So another 2 hours to get down there. And when I went to pick it up, nobody was there. It was packed up and was ready for me to pick up. So I never talked to anybody. And a lot of these times, you know that you may not make the sale, but at least you get your foot in the door to talk to somebody to see if there's anything else that they may be interested in. And, just the FaceTime is worth doing it. So, I invested 2 hours there, 2 hours back, for 8 hours of driving, and I never really got to meet anybody. And when I called them, after I picked it up and brought it back, they said, oh, yeah, it was nice. And that was it. No follow up, not interested in anything else. Never called me about anything else. So it was all for nothing. And it just kind of was annoying because they're such a big company. Now, the funny thing is, one of the guys that works at NFL Films, I gave him a job as a wiring guy when we were putting Boys to Men Studio together. And it was a huge favor on my part to make that happen. He got paid pretty good because I needed to get all the wiring guys together, and somebody suggested him, and I said, okay, let's hire him. So I figured maybe he would step up and help me out a little bit with this. But no, I got nothing. And NFL Films, they weren't a Pro Tools house. They were Fairlights. That's what they used. So I had no foot in the door that way either, because most people, when they have Pro Tools, sometime they're going to need some help, and they usually would call me. So that's my NFL film story. Everything you got to try these things, and it's time on my part, but it's also money because the company pays my time, for me to get sales happening. But do I regret it? I don't know. Would I do it again? Maybe. So there you go. That's my NFL film story.